Gyananjala-shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmaya Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Taravaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Prabhajantam Anapetyam Apetykrityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tammayatayo Taravo Pinidustam Sarvabhutam Munim Hridimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihina Apararakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astal Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astal Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Vargya and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. So continuing with our readings of Jaiva Dharma, and again, every single day for so many days, months, I've chanted this Falshruti. And I'm just amazed that every time I read it, I can sense a deeper, more clear meaning from it. So it doesn't matter if we sing it every single day. There's newer and newer. This is the nature of transcendental literature. It's like with the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can just read it again and again and again and again. And it's never boring. It's never, oh, I read that before. Because it's a condition of the heart and consciousness. The consciousness becomes inspired by the moods. So the consciousness is always growing. The nature of the consciousness, if we're devotees, is ecstatic, not static. A materialist conditioned consciousness can become very static. It's not really being inspired. They can become very dull-brained. But the devotee, he's always inspired, so he's always perceiving newer and newer, astonishing truths within these prayers. So we're into the second, but we'll sing the whole Falshruti because we're so blessed to have our Navadvip Gurukul here. So for your pleasure, the Navadvip Gurukul, Golden Avatar Gurukul, will sing the Falshruti again. Okay.
পৃথিবীতে যত কথা ধর্ম নামে চলে ভাগবত কহে সারা পরিপূর্ণ চলে চল ধর্ম চারি করো সত্য ধর্মে মতি চতুর্বর্গ ত্যাগী ধরো নিত্য প্রেম মতি আমিত্ব মীমাংসা ব্রহ্মে নিজ জড় বুদ্ধি নির্বিশেষ ব্রহ্ম জ্ঞানে নয় চিত্ত শুদ্ধি বিচিত্রতাহীন হলে নির্বিশেষ হয় কাল সমাতুল্য সেব অপ্রাকৃত নয় খণ্ড জ্ঞানে হেয় ধর্ম আছে সুনিশ্চয় প্রাকৃত হইলে কবু অপ্রাকৃত নয় জয় দ্বৈত জ্ঞান হেয় চিতে উপাদেয় কৃষ্ণ ভক্তি চিরদিন উপায় প্রেয় জীব কবু জড় নয় হরি কবু নয় হরি সহ জীব চিত্ত ভেদা ভেদময় দেহ কবু জীব নয় ঝরা ভোগ নয় দাস ভোগ জীব কৃষ্ণ প্রভু ভোক্তা হয় জৈব ধর্মে নাহি আছে দেহ ধর্ম কথা নাহি আছে জীব জ্ঞানে মায়াবাদ প্রথা জীবনিত্য ধর্ম ভক্তি তাহে জড় নাই, শুদ্ধ জীব প্রেম সেবা ফলে পায় তাই, জৈব ধর্ম পাঠে সেই শুদ্ধ ভক্তি হয়, জৈব ধর্ম না করিলে প্রভু ভক্তি নয়, রূপানুগ অভিমানে পাঠে দৃঢ় হয়, জৈব ধর্ম বিমুখকে ধর্মহীন কয়, যাবজ্জীবন যেই করে জৈব ধর্ম, ভক্তিমান সেই জানে বৃথা জ্ঞান কর্ম, কৃষ্ণের অমর সেবা লোভী সেই নয়, সেবা সুখে মগ্ন রহ সদা কৃষ্ণ কয়।
So starting from verse 6, I'm going to read the translation. Such knowledge, which is solely related to the duality of this dull material world, is fit to be rejected, whereas transcendental knowledge of the divine duality within the spiritual world should be accepted forever within one's heart, both as the upaya, means of attainment, and the upaye, the goal worthy of attainment. So again, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, what is material is fit to be rejected. He has to say so many times because we are so attached to our material state of consciousness. That means my material identity. You can't be anything else to function. We have to function with the false ego. And the quality of the false ego is its identity relating to material matter. That's the quality of the false ego. But through meditation and practice and sadhana and prayer, we can start to appreciate the nature of the spiritual world, the Chit Jagat. And the more we hear about the Chit Jagat pastimes, the more we visit these holy places. Every time we go to any holy place, some sanskar, some impression will wipe itself on the screen of the heart. Definitely. And that impression will last eternally because it's an eternal place that you're visiting. If you're going to an eternal dham, it's going to, whereas if you take a material impression, it'll still make an impression on the consciousness, but just in this life. Like if you watch a video, for example, it'll make an impression on the screen of the heart that will last the whole life. You might be chanting and then suddenly this picture of this image comes up of some video that you watched, it suddenly comes into your mind. It's still there. It's not purified out, but these eternal, these powerful spiritual impressions, they will stay eternally. And it's like a bank balance. It's like every time you go, you're putting some more coins into the bank and it's building your bank balance. So especially at the time of death, we need that bank balance because Krishna can open that state of consciousness in a moment for us. He can just remind us somehow, mystically. We can remember these different, and then suddenly a whole, like if you go to the Gambhira and you're thinking deeply about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, living there for 18 years of his life, and you're touching your head to that ground where he walked. 18 years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead walked there. It's a long time. It's a big impression that he's leaving there. If we can connect for a moment with that impression, that's what Sukriti and Sanskar is about. There's Sanskars in this life, that's called Adunika, and there's Sanskars from previous lives, that's called Prachana. Two types of Sanskars. This is discussed in the 28th chapter of Jaiva Dharma. Gada Sanskars, they're called. So these types of impressions are there. So we want these impressions to purify the lower impressions. This world is so polluted, especially because we all have these mobile phones. These mobile phones are hooked in to the whole material consciousness. And they're all shouting, buy this, use this, enjoy this, enjoy this. They're hammering our consciousnesses, and we're interacting with them daily. So we have to purify that contaminating influence by coming to the holy places, always looking for where is that holy place to build my sukritis and sanskar. The jiva is not a product of dull matter. We just discussed that. The jiva has no mayic influence in his identity, in his constitution. We've just read that. We'll read it again today. Because Brajanath is asking, is there any maya in the constitution of the jiva? And Babaji says categorically, no. We're made of pure consciousness, Shuddha Chit. That's what we're made of. Where is this darkness coming from? We are wanting that darkness. It's our inspiration that's going for that darkness. If we chant nicely, the power of the chanting will purify the darkness. The jiva is not a product of dull matter, nor is he Kevaladvaita. What does Kevaladvaita mean? Same what I was just saying before, this Advaita, this oneness, me, I am one with the Supreme. I am like God. I wanted to be like God. That's why I chose to come into this material world. I had a choice. We all had a choice to serve God or to be like God. This choice we had historically, but we also have this choice every moment of our lives. Our nature is tatashta. One way I can go this way, the next second I can go this way. That's what the meaning of tatashta is, what we're discussing in this Jiva Tattva. It's very fine line, subtle line between these two worlds. And we should consider that that decision to come here was not so long in the past. But tonight, before you all take rest, how many times will we all go towards Maya before we sleep tonight? How many times will we choose that way? If we become aware of that, this is the point, to become aware of, yes, I'm choosing Maya. Okay, no problem. Yes, I'm choosing Maya. Put the video on. But know that I'm choosing it. Don't put it on in ignorance, thinking I can get away with something here. Know that this is not going to be, it's like eating something that is not good for you. Okay, it's not going to be good for me, but still I'll eat it. But do it in knowledge, not in ignorance. We don't have to be in ignorance, you know. Stupid people they're not educated. They don't know what's good for them. We do know what's good for us and what's not good for us. What were we going to say?
When you're saying before you go to sleep, how many times you go to Maya? Going to sleep is also going to Maya.
Tamagun. I love my Tamagun. I do. I own up to it. Yes, I love it. I go in there, no more problems. Just unconscious, you know. But this is also a subtle form of sense enjoyment. I know that. So I'm not in ignorance about it. When I close my eyes at night, I know I'm going to, I want to go into Tamagun because I like the Tamagun for my sleep. We also need some sleep to nourish the body. If you don't sleep, you're not going to be able to function during the day. So you have to turn the mind off. But the mind is not working in deep sleep. So there's nourishment there. But before you get into the deep sleep, there's dreams and so many other things. And this is like, you know, especially if we oversleep, then that is the problem. That can be really, but that's Tamagun, because the senses are not operating. You can't pray deeply during sleep. You can't reach Krishna in sleep in an unconscious way. You reach Krishna in a conscious way. When our consciousness is purified, then you can be conscious of Krishna. Not unconscious, not like a miracle is going to happen. We have to wake up. Udita Vivek. Remember these two words? Udita Vivek and Anudita Vivek. Yes, this Udita. Udila Arana. This, the sun rising. We want to wake up, not go to sleep. the jiva is inconceivably different and non-different from Hari. So we've discussed this many times, and we'll discuss it again also, but this is a fascinating topic also, to appreciate the similarities between, if you meet someone and they say, I'm Krishna, you say, very good, yes, you are. For this reason, this reason, this reason. Bhakti, Swarup, you are an enjoyer, Krishna is an enjoyer. You absorb knowledge, Krishna absorbs knowledge. You know your own mind, Krishna knows his own mind. You have light coming from you like an aura, Krishna has light coming. So it's the same, yes, you're Krishna, but you're a tiny, 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 anuchit, so small spark. But still, that's there. Because we discussed yesterday, the sparks from the fire can cause a huge fire all over the planet, right? Mm-hmm. If the fire, if Krishna wants to empower you, you can turn the whole world to Krishna consciousness. So, but the power is coming from him. We just don't want to be in illusion about these things. The material body should never be considered to be the jiva. He's saying it again. He's saying it so many, why does he say it so many times? Because I'm so stupid. I have to hear it 1,000 times. I just don't wake up to it. I don't, because it takes great humility to realize that, yes, I am stupid. In the 11th canto, Uddhav, he asks Krishna, why is the soul who is illuminous and pure, why does he perform such stupid acts in the material body? And Krishna answers in the 29th chapter of the 11th canto. He says, the foolish spirit soul, he's given his power to the mind and the body. It's like the mind is dragging the soul through all these places. The mind is the only instrument we have to reach the soul. We don't have anything else. You only have the mind. That's the main ingredient between the two worlds, is the mind. The mind can go this way or the mind can go that way. So the mind has to be bridled. It has to be controlled. It has to be purified. If the mind is purified, you're such a happy person because you're always going in the pure direction. You have no more taste for the lower state of consciousness. You know it doesn't bring any lasting happiness or joy. So he says again, the material body should never be considered to be the jiva. And this earth is not for the jiva to exploit and enjoy. It's not our place. This all is Krishna's energy. Let's use this energy to glorify Krishna. Then you'll be happy. We only want to be happy. That's why we do this. That's why we come here. That's why we do everything we do. Everything we do is because we want to be happy. We chant because we want to be happy. We read Jaiva Dharma because we want to be happy. We associate with devotees because we want to be happy. But that happiness will come continually once we understand how to serve Krishna and Krishna's energies. In the Bhagavatam, the first Canto 2 and Canto 3 describe the Virat Rupa. In the Virat Rupa is a very special tattva. It describes how Krishna, his material energy, represents him. The mountains are like his bones, the rivers are like his veins, etc. All of these descriptions about the Virat. Why does Shukadev Goswami speak about the Virat Rupa so many times? It starts from actually the first canto, and then it's twice in the second canto and 3 times in the third canto. He says it again and again. So we develop this respect for the world where we live. If we respect it as Krishna's energy, then I'm not going to exploit it because it belongs to him. I just want to honor it. Honor the trees, honor the land, honor the rivers. But in Kali Yuga, everything is backwards. And the whole populace is hurting Mother Bhumi. So Mother Bhumi will sometimes rebel and throw up an earthquake or a tsunami. Mother Bhumi is always described as so tolerant. The earth is so tolerant. Like Prithu Maharaj, his qualities are described like Mother Earth, tolerant. So Mother Earth, she tolerates so much, but there does come times when she will throw up something. This earth is not for the jiva to exploit and enjoy. The jiva's swarup is Krishna Das, and thus he is meant for Krishna's enjoyment, whereas Sri Krishna's swarup is Prabhu, master, and bhakta, enjoyment. When we realize the pleasure of pleasing Krishna, then everything changes. Our whole life just transforms. I just want to run to please Krishna. We see the Mahabhagavat, like my Gurudev. He would be serving from morning till night, every single day of his life. I was with him for more than 20 years, but he never thought that he was doing enough to please his Guru. That's the nature of pure service. You never think you're doing enough. You're making so much seva, and then you think, oh, I've worked so hard, I'll have a break now. You never think that you've actually satisfied Krishna sufficiently. So this way the greed, the utsaha, the lobe, will be always in the heart with the inspiration to please Krishna more and more. This book, entitled Jaiva Dharma, neither discusses matters related to the dead material body, nor does it propound the Mayavad's doctrine of the jiva's oneness with Brahma. Thank goodness for that. This is what we can say. This book has nothing to do with dull matter. It has nothing. So if you want dull matter, close the book and walk away. Nothing for you here. Only if you have that enthusiasm. The jiva's nitya dharma is bhakti, devoid of material motivation. Just like we say, anyabilasita shunyam, jnana karmare anavritam. This is expelled. Is jnana and karma expelled? We don't want that. I'm talking to young teenagers here. In the teenage mind and body, the senses are very strong. If you have the fortune to hear this in your bodies, you are so blessed. And you can begin to turn the whole picture around, to turn the whole consciousness towards Krishna. When I was your age, I didn't even hear about this. It was just a whole nother world of sensual enjoyment. No one ever told me. So appreciate your good fortune and don't think that it's just, don't take it for granted. Labda sadulavam idam bahu sambhavante manusyam arthadam anityam api hadira turanam nyate tanapadara numritya yavan nishresya vishaya sarvatosyat. That this material enjoyment, even the pigs can get in material enjoyment. We have a human body. This human body is a place where I can engage in God consciousness. In the dog, they can't. These nice dogs here, they're all Jagannath's servants. But they can't think directly of Krishna because they're in dogs' bodies. They sometimes sing to Jagannath. I hear them, you know, they're singing. They suddenly get inspired like that, you know. But they don't really know what they're doing. Then the next second, they're chasing the female. You know, they don't know. But in the human body, we can get some handle on it. We can get some control on it. This is our duty. Labda sadulavam idam bahu sambhavante. This is the fortune of this human body. I wanted to say that verse for so long. Never had a chance to say it. The jiva's nitya dharma is bhakti, devoid of material motivation. The jiva, purified by seva, attains the fruit of that seva in the form of prem. This prem is what we are anxious to connect with. It's prem ultimately for Radhika. It's not Krishna prem that we are anxious for. Although that Krishna prem will manifest through our service to Radhika, because we learn that Radhika serves Krishna so much fully with every atom of her body. She's just trying to please Krishna. If I follow Sri Radhika, then I also can have that same mood. But what happens is that we fall in love with Radhika and we only want to please her. And if she is happy, then with us, then my life is so fortunate, really and truly. So we are in this anugatya of servants of Radhika. Certainly Bhaktivinoda Thakur is. Okay, back to our chapter 15. And I just want to make a few points about this. Vibhinamsa Tattva is what we're discussing. So yesterday it was quite complex, but I want to just open it out a little bit, simply, and just explain some simple, we call it in English, parameters. So to know what Vibhinamsa means. Vibhinamsa means separated part. Vibhin. Vibhin means separated. So there are two types of manifestations coming from Krishna directly, not from Swarup Shakti. This is actually, it comes from Swarup Shakti, but Krishna is the one inspiring this. This is what we read yesterday. Krishna has no qualities, form, anything, but he has independence. It's Radhika who has all the Shakti that is manifesting everything. So Radhika, she manifests the jivas coming from the body of Krishna directly. The first manifestation, what are they called? Swa-angsa. Swangsa. They are the avatars. And they are in full 60 qualities. Not 64, 60 qualities. They are swangsa. And then there is the Vibhinamsa, and that is us, the separated parts. It says separated because we're separated from Krishna. We're not manifested from Krishna. We're manifested actually from Baladev Prabhu, from the Sandini Shakti. Sandini means existence potency. It's from this existence potency that the jivas manifest from. That's where we're coming from.
So the Swamsas, they also have Sandini Shakti.
Sorry?
The Swamsa Prakash, they also have Sandini Shakti.
I didn't understand. The Swamsa
Oh, you're saying there's two types of jivas that is coming.
Swamsa?
So there's Swamsa and then there's Vibhinamsa.
Vibhinamsa.
And then we're the jivas, we're Vibhinamsa, we're separate. We're coming from Baladev Prabhu.
Yes.
Sandini Shakti.
Yes.
So the Swamsa, they also have Sandini Shakti.
They have existence.
Yeah.
Sandini means existence. Sat. Nrsimhadev has a body. So he has existence. That's manifesting the Sandini Shakti. Within him is the Sangvit Shakti and the Hladini Shakti, all three. But his external body is coming from the Sandini Shakti. He has a body, a spiritual body, full spiritual body.
He is also Satchidananda.
Yes, of course. All the Swangsa are fully like that. All the Swangsa are exactly the same as Krishna, but they only exhibit a portion of that. It's like the moon. The moon is always full, actually. But sometimes we can only see half moon. Sometimes we can see quarter moon. Where's the rest of the moon gone? It's still there, but we can only see that part. So like Nrsimhadev, he will only exhibit a portion of the Purna, of the complete, for Leela's sake. And Matsya Avatar, Kurma, Varaha, they're all exhibiting a portion of, but they all actually all are the whole. But they're only demonstrating a part. But Krishna is the complete Purna. Purna Shakti is actually in Krishna. But then from these Swamsa come the Vibhinamsa, which are the separated parts. And in the spiritual world, there's two types of jivas. There's those jivas who manifest from Baladev Prabhu and serve Radha Binod Bihari in the spiritual world. And those jivas we discussed yesterday, the question was asked, do they have the same qualities to a higher degree that the jivas have in this world? Yes, they have 50 qualities. 50. The potential for 55 Lord Brahma, Shiva, they have 55 qualities. They have 5 extra qualities. Just look for a second in this chapter 12. We'll just read it. Chapter 13, sorry. Is it 13 or 12? 13.
13.
Yes, at the end of 13, these 5 qualities are described that are extra. So the Sakas, they don't need these 5 qualities because they're not masters of this material manifestation. They don't need the Shakti of Suryadev. They don't need the Shakti of Lord Brahma to create so many planets. That's not what they need. If they needed them, Krishna would empower them, because these demigods are empowered by Krishna to perform these amazing services to him. Otherwise, how can this creation happen without Lord Brahma being empowered by Krishna? So these 5 qualities, they are always situated in their Swarup. So the Sakas are always situated in their Swarup also. That's not such a special thing. They are omniscient. The Sakas are also omniscient. Always ever fresh and new. The Sakas are always ever fresh and new. He is the concentrated form of existence, knowledge, and bliss. The Sakas are also like that. He is served by all mystic opulence. Actually, this is the Sakas. The Sakas do have these qualities if they need them. But the point is, the demigods, it's described here, these 55 qualities are partially present in the Devas. Now we're talking about her question about the Sakas, Krishna's pastime, parikas. They also have all these qualities, but they don't need them. You know, there's a beautiful story about Baladev Prabhu. When Baladev Prabhu, he gets so immersed in Sakya Ras, he fully feels, I am a Saka. He doesn't remember his omniscient nature, that he's actually Swamsa. And when Pralambasura tries to kidnap Balaram, because they're playing that game of like cops and robbers, and the party that's defeated, they have to carry the winners on their back. So Pralambasura has been defeated, and he's carrying off Balaram. But Pralambasura is a big demon. And Balaram, he's sitting on the back, and he's wondering, why is this, because he looks like a cowherd boy, why is Pralamba taking me so far away from the cowherd boys? And he becomes bewildered. And he looks back at Krishna. And it's described that he's forgotten his omniscience. And Krishna has to shoot him a glance. Hey, brother, remember who you are. You're like God. And then, boom, then he punches Pralambasura, kills him. But he forgot until Krishna reminded him. They're not walking around in that consciousness, oh, I am the Supreme. Not even Krishna is walking around like that. This is the working of Yoga Maya. Krishna is described as Mugdata and Sarvagyan. He knows everything and he doesn't know anything. When he's playing like a baby, sucking his toe, he thinks he's really a baby. Otherwise, how could it be a real Leela? Mother Yashoda is not a false person. If it was Krishna was doing something fake, like on a drama stage or something, she would know immediately. It can't be like that. It has to be absolutely authentic. It has to be real. So Krishna is just like Baladev. Baladev is thinking, I'm just an ordinary cowherd boy. And all the Sakas also, they have great qualities, but they don't need them. Krishna defeats all the demons because Krishna wants to be the hero. Krishna is the hero, especially for the Sakis, you know. I mean, they love a hero, especially when he dances on the hoods of Kaliya Naga. This is the first time actually that the Sakis are seeing Krishna defeating a demon. It's the first time the Brijvasis see Krishna defeating a demon. Because before Kaliya, who was there? Putana. The Sakis didn't really see Krishna defeating Putana. They just heard Putana screaming and then growing 12 miles high and crashing down on Kamsa's orchard. Then they found baby Krishna, but they didn't really see Krishna kill him.
Also the
and
cart, in the demon that was in the cart.
Cart demon, Shakatasura, they didn't really see him either. The little children saw Krishna do that, but they didn't really see Shakatasura. They didn't see Krishna really kill him with his fiddle feet. They didn't really see him kill Trinavrata. Trinavrata took Krishna right into the sky. And in the sky, he was hanging onto his neck. And suddenly he started to strangle him. And Trinavrata was thinking, oh my God, this boy's going to kill me. And then Trinavrata was trying to get him off his neck. They were 800 miles high because Krishna wanted to show his beautiful face to the ladies in Swagaloka. They were crying out, let me see your beautiful face, Krishna. So Krishna went up there on the back of Trinavrata. But then he hung on to his neck and Trinavrata was trying to get him off. And he couldn't. And then Krishna was strangling him. And then Trinavrata crashes 800 miles down. But what happened? Krishna was on the body of Trinavrata. And just before the body smashed on the ground, Krishna jumped up a little bit. So there was no impact of the fall. You know, if you're falling and somehow you just jump up before you impact, you just touch down 2 inches or something like that. So Krishna had no problem. But the Brijvasis and the gopis, they never saw him kill him. And Bakasura they never saw. Vatsasura they never saw. Agasura, the gopis, the Brijvasis never saw. But when they saw Kaliya, they saw Krishna wrapped in his coils. And they were going to die in anxiety. Mother Yashoda, she wanted to go into the poisonous waters. And Nanda Baba wanted, but Balaram, he stopped them. Because Balaram, his omniscience came then. He understood, my little brother is having no problem here. He's just doing a drama. But then when Krishna jumped on the hoods and began to dance, why was he dancing? He was looking at all the gopis standing there. And he was starting to dance, because how amazing to dance on the hoods of a serpent. Kaliya had 101 prominent heads, and Krishna has the weight of the Brahman in his abdomen. And boom, every time he kicked, can you imagine the whole weight of all these planetary systems? How heavy does that weigh? Crashing into the head of Kaliya. Oh my God. Again and again and again. And then all the smoke and the fire coming out, vomiting. But the gopis are sitting there. Wow. Krishna is called Nata Vara, the master of dance. Shivji is who? Nataraj. Who is greater, the master or the king? Actually, the master is greater. The master means the total master, Natavara. Krishna is even greater than Nataraj. So the gopis were watching this, and their hearts completely were attracted to the great hero. What greater heroic act can you do than that? To impress young girls' hearts than dance on the hoods of a serpent in such a fast way. You know, to begin with, all the demigods, the Gandharvas, they started to play accompany music because Krishna was dancing in such an amazing rhythm. So they started bringing all their instruments and playing the music. But then Krishna was going so fast, they couldn't play anymore. In the end, they just clapped. They couldn't keep up with his dancing. The music couldn't keep up. It was so fast. In the end, they just had to clap. That's how fast he was dancing. Actually, there's another description I read recently of Sanatana Goswami. He describes a little bit differently. He says that actually Radharani jumped on the hoods also, and she was dancing with Krishna on the hoods. But anyway, that's another pastime. But these are the qualities. So I'm describing this omniscient aspect. So the Sakhas, they have this potential, but they don't need it. They're leaving all the demons to be taken care of by Krishna. So they have just these 50 qualities, but absolute 100%. So that's the answer to your question. So what I was describing about these 3 types of jivas, because I should have described this first coming into this chapter of Vibhinamsa Tattva. One is directly in Goloka Vrindavan by Baladev. The second is in the Vaikunthas by Sankarshan. Sankarshan, that's Baladev again, Sandini Shakti again, manifesting all the jivas. Baladev manifests all the jivas, the body of Nanda Baba, the body of Yashoda, the bodies of Radharani and the Kaya Vyuha That's different. That's what was mentioned in the text yesterday. They are Kaya Vyuha. They're manifesting directly from Radhika. They're her direct expansions. They're different from the ones coming from Baladev. They have the power, because they're coming from Radharani, to actually dance and embrace Krishna. Radharani is Swarup Shakti. She's the energy of Krishna. So those other personalities who are going to engage in such close rasa with Krishna, they also have to be very, very, very special souls. That's called Sambhog Ichamai. They have the propensity to enjoy rasa directly with Krishna. There's 5 types of sakis. The sakis, the pran sakis, nitya sakis, priya sakis, and priyanam sakis. So 3 of these sakis are all having this mood of Sambhog Ichamai. They can all directly embrace with Krishna. And the other 2 types, they have this other mood called Tat Tat Bhav Ichamai, where they will only serve Sri Radhika. That's the pran sakis and the nitya sakis. That's all the manjaris. They will only serve Sri Radhika. So I can remember in the early days reading the Rasa Leela thinking, oh yes, I want to be a gopi, dancing in the Rasa Leela. But actually, gopis are very special, Nitya Siddha Parikas. They're more than Nitya Siddha. They're coming directly from the body of Srimati Radhika. How can you be a gopi? But you can be a manjari by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. This is the distinction. So what I'm describing is Vivinamsa Tattva, Swangsa, Vivinamsa, and 3 types of jiva. The jivas from Baladev in the spirit in Goloka Vrindavan, the jivas from Sankarshan in Vaikuntha. They are all coming from Baladev, from the 2nd quadruple expansion. And then there are the jivas, again coming from Baladev, the minute form of the jivas, coming in Jiva Tattva. This is another point I want to make today, because someone was asking me the question, what's the difference between Jiva Tattva and Tatastha Shakti Tattva? Gaurangi, can you tell me? What is the difference between Tatastha Shakti and Jiva Shakti?
Jiva is Sachitananda and is coming from the Chit Shakti, the Jiva.
That's true.
And the Tatastha Shakti is the state of consciousness.
Very good. Very good. She's brilliant. You got it. That's correct. Tatastha Shakti is a state of consciousness. It's a state of consciousness. But the Jiva Tattva is what I've just described, how the Jiva comes actually into this world. That's Jiva Tattva. The Jiva, first of all, Baladev manifests Karanadakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and then Garbhadakshay Vishnu, then Shiradakshay Vishnu, these 3 Purusha avatars. These Purusha avatars, and then Mahavishnu, he glances on Maya. Shambhu carries the glance into the Shakti, into the Adara Shakti. And then this manifests the jivas in this world. This is Jiva Tattva. But the jiva's constitution is Tatastha Shakti. That's what you just said. The jiva is made of Tatastha Shakti. So there's the manifestation of the jivas, that's like Jiva Shakti. And then there's the constitution of the jivas, that's Tatastha Shakti. Got that, Subha? 2 separate things. Tatastha Shakti is not directly the same as Jiva Shakti. You understand? Jiva Shakti is the principle of the jiva's creation. Tatastha Shakti is what the jiva is made of, the marginal energy. There's a distinction. So if someone asks you that question, probably no one ever will unless they're reading this particular chapter, because all this is quite deep philosophy, and it's not what you would probably normally speak about. But we're speaking about it because we're trying to become educated in all of these topics, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur has the kindness of heart to educate us directly. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also saying the same things, but it's very hard to find them in such a direct way. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur is delivering it directly out of his enormous compassion. He wants us to appreciate these truths. So 3 types of jiva, from Baladev in Goloka Vrindavan, from Sankarshan in Vaikuntha, and from Baladev again, or Mahasankarshan. It's Mahasankarshan is manifesting Narayan, and then Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu. All of that. So 3 types of jivas. And the jivas that we're discussing in these chapters are Vibhinamsa jivas. This is what I thought I had to just explain that, just to make it simple. It is simple, isn't it? When you understand it a little bit.
Yes.
And you have to actually hear these things for many years, Subha. It's not like just first time, yes, I'm getting it. Because we have to think about these things, read it again, read it again, read it again. And then gradually, the amazing truth becomes more clear. And our affection for Radha and Krishna become greater, because we're realizing what amazing things that they actually do in this world. You know, if you understand someone's qualities and what they do, don't you love them much more? You can respect them much more. You can have the inspiration to come closer to them much more when you realize really how special they are. But this is nothing compared to the love. It's the love ingredient that is the most special. This is like Aishwarya in a sense, Krishna's great opulences. But the sweetness of the love between Radha and Krishna is even more special. That touches the heart. This is like going into the brain. We want to come from the brain into the heart. So I just want to drop back a little bit and just say one thing here from what we read in case you missed it. So Brajanath is saying, is there any material component in the jiva's original constitution? We know his original constitution is completely pure. So now Babaji is responding to that. No, the jiva is created solely from the Chit Shakti. The jiva is created solely from the Chit Shakti. At the same time, he's manifesting from the Jiva Shakti. But his constitution is made of Chit. Right. But he's manifesting from Jiva Shakti. Appreciate the difference. His nature is completely pure, but he's coming from the Jiva Shakti to perform these pastimes either in the material world or in the spiritual world. It's coming from Chit Shakti. So the question yesterday that was asked, you know, is Jiva coming from Chit or from Jiva Tattva? But actually he's first of all coming from Chit Tattva. And then it's manifesting as Jiva Tattva, Jiva Shakti. Jiva Shakti, not Jiva Tattva, Jiva Shakti. Understand it? No, the Jiva is created solely from the Chit Shakti. He can be defeated, that is covered by Maya, because his constitution is Tatashta. Because he is minute by nature and lacks spiritual power. As soon as you have spiritual power, consistent spiritual power. What's that beautiful? Savai pumsam parodharma yato bhakti adhoksite ahoitiki apratihata. What does that mean? That third line. Ahoitiki, continued, uninterrupted. Yes. And this is the same in Anyabilasita Sunyam. Jnana Karmadi and Anukulyena Krishna Anushila. Uninterrupted. When this track of the consciousness towards our spiritual goal is uninterrupted, that's when we never leave the spiritual consciousness. We become nitya mukta then. We are liberated from this material consciousness when we can stay connected all the time. We never have to drop down into our turbulent, Mayic emotions sometimes, which tend to override the intelligence. Anger, for example, frustration, pride, all of these lower tendencies that we have to deal with, they can overcome the purity. If you believe in them, if you think, yes, I am proud, yes, I am angry, and you give credence to it, But if you become disturbed and say, well, actually, this is just a disturbance of my mind, and separate it a little bit, put it in a box, say, mind, shut up. Stop being like that. I don't want to hear you complaining like that. Can we do that? A self-controlled person can do that. He can tell the mind, stop being so mental. My Gurudev used to tell us all the time, because all the Western devotees came to him, they were all so mental, all of them. And my Gurudev would say, I've never been mental in my life. He doesn't know what it is to be mental. Being mental is making all kinds of crazy things that aren't really happening. You're jumping out of the present environment into a mental world, which might be dark and aggressive and filled with lower emotions. So we have to know how to separate ourselves from that. It's a science.
So meditation,
Well, the meditation and the Maha Mantra, you see. This is what, in my brief experience, I appreciated, that the power of the mantra, as soon as the disturbance comes, you remember that story that we read the other day about that lady who was leaving her body and she couldn't remember to chant. And then one Muslim lady said, chant Hare Krishna. And as soon as she started to chant, immediately a flood like of higher consciousness came into her brain. This is the strength, because this Maha Mantra is empowered by Krishna, by Mahaprabhu. He empowers it. The Maha Mantra has always been there, but it's never been empowered the way it is now. In the morning time when we come out of Tamagun, as soon as we begin to chant, first we offer prayers to make a clean platform for the chanting to come on. And then we begin to chant. And then straight away, the consciousness immediately lifts. Immediately, it starts to come out of the material attractions where I am the center. The material attraction always comes from me wanting to be God, wanting to be the enjoyer, the bhakta. I want to enjoy. As soon as that mood comes, Maya Devi is right there at your service. Yes, whatever you want, I will give you.
Here's your ice cream.
Yes, she'll come. She's very submissive, you know. She's very dutiful. She will do whatever is your desire. She's Krishna's servant. She's Krishna's maidservant. She's doing her service, but she's not proud of it. She never stands in front of Krishna because she doesn't feel proud of the service that she has to do, which is to attract the jivas away from Krishna. That's her seva. But the jivas have independence, the same as Krishna has independence. We have that quality that Krishna has. Krishna is the supreme independent, and we are also independent. But we voluntarily give up our independence to our Guru Vargya. This is how we... My Gurudev used to say, what can you give most to Guru? You can give him your independence. And when my Gurudev used to say that, I used to say, no, I can't do that. I used to say that, that's too hard. That's too difficult for me. To give Gurudev my independence to do whatever he wants. I'm not sure for that. I would hesitate. But slowly, slowly, when we know how much he loves us and he wants our best interest, the same as Krishna wants our best interest. It's in the soul's interest, not the mind's interest. Again, the distinction between the soul and the mind. We want to empower the soul. And then this Chit Shakti will cover the Mayak Shakti. It'll chase it away. So, yes, I just wanted to read that part. Because he is minute by nature and lacks spiritual power, that there is not even a scent of Maya in the jiva's existence. So I've said this many, many times, the same principle. Appreciate that it's like I'm holding on to the tree and I'm shouting out, let go, let go. Who's holding? Who's holding this illusion? I'm holding it. I've got the key. I can open the door and let myself go. But I don't, because I want to hold it. Because I'm getting some material taste. I'm getting some honey from this material world. Somehow there's some sweetness there. I'm holding. It's my independent will that chooses to hold on to Maya. It's not Maya Devi. She doesn't have any power over me, actually. When I'm sitting in my proper constitution of Chit Shakti, she has no power over me. But when I'm weak, and I haven't practiced sufficiently, and when I'm not a mature devotee yet, then I'm going to be overpowered regularly. Like I said, how many times before you go to sleep tonight will Maya Devi drag us somewhere else? We have to think of that. So I wanted to read back a little bit from what we read yesterday, but we've almost run out of our time now. I just read 3 paragraphs from what we read yesterday, just to go over it again, because honestly, I could read this 10 times and we would have 10 fresher appreciations of it, because it's thick, it's dense teachings. But the more familiar we become with it, like I've tried to explain about the Vibhinamsa, the Swamsa, the 3 types of jivas, to get like a broader picture, so we know where we're sitting here. So Rajanath is asking, so Maya has nothing whatever to do with creating the swarup of the jivas. So we've just substantiated that. This has to be accepted. So now Rajanath has been purified of these Mayic misconceptions he had. At the same time, I have also clearly understood that the jiva is by nature subject to the influence of Maya. So that's the confusion sometimes. Because I'm subject to the influence of Maya, I think that Maya has some control over my soul or my pure self. But it doesn't. It's me in the conditioned state that wants to hold on to Maya. Now I want to know, did the Chit Shakti create the jivas and give them their tatashta swabhav, marginal nature? So is it the Chit Shakti that is manifesting the jivas? Babaji answers, interesting, no, the Chit Shakti is the Purna, Paripurna Shakti. Chit Shakti is complete. And Chit Shakti is not going to be bothered with making something incomplete. There's another point here. The complete potency of Krishna. Krishna is the Paripurna Shakti, the complete potency of Krishna. And its manifestations are all eternally perfect substances. Yes, nothing is imperfect from Chit Shakti. The jiva is not Nitya Siddha. The jiva isn't by nature Nitya Siddha. The Nitya Siddhas are in the spiritual world. We're talking about the jivas in this world. The jivas in this world are not eternally perfect. Although when he performs sadhana, he can become sadhana siddha and enjoy transcendental happiness like the Nitya Siddhas, eternal perfect beings, because then he will associate with the Nitya Siddhas. It's like when you associate with a Nitya Siddha, like my Gurudev, for example, you associate with him, then you can wake up your nature of Nitya Siddha. We are performing sadhana siddha to wake up that Nitya Siddha. There's that verse, Nitya Siddhyasya bhavasya prakritam hriti sadyate. Hriti sadhya bhavat sadhya bhav sasarnabhina. Nitya Siddhyasya bhavasya. That means the eternally perfect jiva is there, prakritam hriti sadyate, in potential within the jiva. It's there potentially. Nitya Siddhas, eternally perfect beings. All the 4 types of Srimati Radhika's Sakhis are Nitya Siddha. He's saying 4 types here, but I said before 5 because later on, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also talks about 5 types. So the Sakhis haven't been mentioned. This is just 4 types. They are direct expansions, Kaya Vyuha, of the Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti is manifesting directly from Swarup Shakti. So it's Radharani who is manifesting this Kaya Vyuha directly. They are Nitya Siddha Parikars in Goloka Vrindavan. Shrimati Radhika herself, they're manifesting from Shrimati Radhika. All the jivas, on the other hand, have manifested from Krishna's Jiva Shakti. Yes. The Chit Shakti is Sri Krishna's complete Shakti. So it's like the Chit Shakti is giving birth to the Jiva Shakti. That's a simple way to consider it. The Chit Shakti is Krishna's complete Shakti, whereas the Jiva Shakti is his incomplete Shakti. Yes, we're incomplete. Just as the complete tattvas are all transformations of the complete potency. So there's the complete potency, and from the complete are coming the lesser, the plenary expansions, the plenary portions, etc. These are all lower degrees from the puna, from the full. Understand? They're all coming lesser and lesser. They're still fully potent, but they're not the same as the complete. So we are not that complete. Similarly, innumerable atomic conscious jivas are transformations of the incomplete Shakti. So we are coming from this Vibhinamsa Tattva, which is the separated portion. So this is actually the place we came to yesterday. So we haven't read anything new today at all. We've just gone over what we did yesterday, more or less. So yes, we'll start tomorrow from the next, unless there's any questions that come. Because the questions, when it says read with faith, it doesn't mean that no doubts are allowed to come. You have complete faith in the text. But if you have a doubt, you should speak out and purify the doubt. Being faithful means I'm trusting this literature to be completely real and authentic. So I'm faithful. But it doesn't mean that I can't have a doubt about it. If you don't have a doubt, it means you're not really thinking very much about it. To be skeptical, to have a doubt, is good. Because the seat of the intellect has to be peaceful. If there's some thought where the intellect can't quite grapple with something, it can't quite feel comfortable, and there's a doubt about it, then we have to ask to have that doubt purified so that my intellect will feel comfortable to proceed and not sort of driving with the handbrake on, thinking, well, this isn't really right, there's this problem, that problem. No, so you have to speak out your doubt. If you have any doubt, if you think something is inconsistent, like this devotee asked me today, he's very enthusiastic. You know him, Urugai. He asked me this question. He said, it's saying that Jiva is manifesting from Chit Shakti at the same time he's coming from Jiva Shakti. What am I supposed to think? So I had to explain what I've explained to all to you today. Almost the whole time today was explaining actually that question. How the Jiva Shakti and Tatastha Shakti are different, and how the Jiva Shakti is Chit Shakti, but at the same time he's manifesting into the Jiva Shakti. It's not easy because this isn't language that we use every day.
So the jivas are completely incomplete, in a way you could say?
The jivas are incomplete.
Incomplete.
Yes. Krishna is complete, and he's manifesting the incomplete Shakti.
And that's why it's a Chintya.
But when the incomplete serve the complete, then the incomplete become complete.
Tadatma.
Huh?
Tadatma.
Tadatma. Yes, we become complete by serving the complete.
So the jiva from the Balaram directly, they are the jiva of Nitya Siddha jiva. And the jiva who is from the Shankirsan, they are not Nitya Siddha, but by serving they can.
They are Nitya Siddha in Vaikuntha.
Yeah.
Those Vaikuntha parikars, they are Nitya Siddha parikars of Vaikuntha, which is of a lower state than those of Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka Vrindavan, they have 12 rasas. In Vaikuntha, they have 2.5 rasas. So, but they're still Nitya Siddhas.
Yeah.
The Vaikuntha Vasis are still Nitya Siddhas. But in this world,
yeah, they will like after serving, they become like Nitya Siddha.
yes.
But they have
First of all, they're Sadhana Siddha.
Yes,
That's what we just read. They're Sadhana Siddha. But by associating with the Nitya Siddha, they can become like Nitya Siddha.
They have this opportunity. They can go to the higher position.
That's the verse that I just said. Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhav Sasadhanabhya. Nitya Siddhyasya Bhavasya. This Nitya Siddha Bhav is within the jiva in potential. Prakritam Riti Sadyate. So that's my understanding.
So when the bhakti rises, that bhakti lata beach, then we can go to that level.
By association.
By association.
Yes, it rises by our meditation initially, but in the end of the day, it's sadhu sangha. We have to take birth from the womb of a gopi in Vrindavan and associate with the Nitya Siddha Parikas in Vrindavan. The sadhana siddhas have to associate with the Nitya Siddhas. This is my understanding.
Yeah, means like among the three different jiva. So two of them have like they are like fixed. They are from Vaikuntha and
Yes,
from, like,
fixed. Don't move at all.
Yeah, only from this
Yes,
world they
yes.
can improve and
Yes.
rather.
And this is why it's really good to come from this world, because we have a chance to go to the highest world. Imagine if you were just manifested straight away into Vaikuntha. You would miss out on the opportunity of going to Goloka Vrindavan.
So Nitya Siddha Parikas, can they be called as angels in English? I was just,
I don't know. That's just a English translation. Yeah, angels. Yes, you can say angels. Angels. Nice word, angels. Yeah, okay. Angels. Jai. Jaiva Dharma ki jai. Vibhinam Sattva ki jai. Baladev Prabhu ki jai. Chit Shakti ki jai. Jiva Shakti ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol. Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhu Vevacha. Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnave Namaha. Gaur Premanande.